There we are. We've started. Recording is going on.
Wonderful. Hi, everyone, and welcome to this webinar on the Chartered Actuary Journey, Navigating Pathways Through the IFoA. This webinar is brought to you by the African Actuarial Development Academy, or AADA, and the Institute and Faculty of Actuaries. At AADA, our mission is to catalyze the development of the actuarial profession across Africa. And we do this through mentorship, tutorials, educational development, and professional development, which we are focusing on today. We have Irene Redmond from the IFoA here, who will speak to you about the IFoA actuarial pathways. And then that will be followed by an expert panel of actuaries from across Africa who are at various stages of their IFoA actuarial pathways. And they'll be sharing their experiences and their journeys with us, as well as answering your questions that you have for them. The panel will be moderated by Lee Chesos, who is an IFoA Actuary Fellow from, or should I say Chartered Actuary Fellow from Kenya. Just some housekeeping. If you would like to ask any questions, please use the Q&A functionality so that they do not get lost in the comments, and we can keep track of all your questions. You can find that with the Q&A button either at the top or the bottom of your screen. With that, I will hand it over to Irene and then to Lee.
Excellent. Okay, hello everyone. I'm going to share my screen because I have a PowerPoint slides to go through. That is sharing my screen share. Okay, let's get to the specific window. Technology, don't fail me now. Oh, there we are. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Excellent. Okay, I'll put it into screen mode, slideshow mode. There we are. Okay, so my name is Irene Redden, and I'm head of our markets development for Africa and the Middle East. And I'm here with my colleague, Sean. She's just joined, so she's taking care of some of the logistics behind the scene as opposed to speaking. So for those people who are unfamiliar, who are the Institute and Faculty of Actuaries, the IFoA? We are the only chartered organization, actuarial organization in the world. We are the oldest, so now we're over 175 years old. And we are the most global of all of the actuarial bodies around the world, with almost half of our members are outside of the UK. So our history is British, but actually we are in fact global and international. We hold a royal charter, and so our members who are qualified are chartered actuaries. So the chartered actuary associate or chartered fellow is two of the qualifications, our main qualifications, but as you can see from this list, we do have other qualifications that people can do. And you can see our model is to collaborate. We work to collaborate together with partners to use the strengths and opportunities with both. And for those, we will be sharing these slides after the presentation with everyone who attended. So please, if I whiz through too fast or you might miss something, please be aware that these will be shared afterwards. So this is where the focus is on chartered actuary. We only introduced it probably a year and a half ago. So now, once you qualify as an associate or as a fellow, you become a chartered actuary. So in terms of the benefits for IFoA members, this is one of the ones that people might not know that much about, but we provide free access to e-journals and e-books. I've put the QR code there so you can scan it. So we have licenses for all of these things. So lots of members who know about this actually find it actually quite useful, especially for studying, exam preparation, or perhaps other work that they might be doing. And you go to the library services and you can have the access to all of those things. Another one of the member benefits that we have is our virtual learning environment. And you can see here is once you go to the website in VLE, there are I'm not sure if you can see, there's blue partially unlocked locks, and that's guest access. So you don't have to be a member to access that area. Whereas if you see these orange ones that are locked, so locks that are locked are for IFoA members. But there's a huge amount of support here for exams, for news, for professionalism, just lifelong learning. There's a huge amount of information here. So that is a really important benefit. Another thing that we introduced last year is a mentoring program. And this is an opportunity for IFoA members, regardless of whether you're an IFoA student or associate or fellow, is you can become a mentor or a mentee. The only, shall we say, restriction is that this is not about exams, it's about your career. And your work and other things. So it's not about whether passing a particular exam or failing a particular exam. It is about mentoring for your career and your life. So in summary, the benefits of the IFoA membership is this support for your career, the global, as we said, professional community that there are, and there's different ways, and research, knowledge, and volunteering. One of the unique things is that student members can volunteer for almost everything at the IFoA. The only thing that they can't is to be on council or to be eligible to be the president. So it's really is a tremendous opportunity for our student members, is that early on in your professional career, you can volunteer and be on committees and working parties with other actuaries, some who are very qualified. So for the skills for an actuary, what you need, it is about passing exams, but there are so many other things that are actually in there. The mathematical and analytical skills, of course, is very important. If you don't have that love and that skill and that talent with maths, it's going to be a more challenging journey for you. But you can see it requires a lot more, and probably some people might say the self-motivation is probably a very important thing, because especially in a lot of different regions around the world, students don't get that much support from their employers. It differs in places. And so a lot of this is self-motivation and self-determination and ambition and desire to work. So typical areas of actuarial work as you move through your career, and these are where most people would probably associate actuarial science. So insurance, finance, and other things. And we're seeing more and more actuaries moving into the environment and resource and climate change area. The thing is that actuaries also work outside of typical areas of actual work. And I've just put down 4 where we know of actuaries that are working there. So Manchester United, just a couple of months ago, advertised for 3 actuarial roles, but the unique thing is they did not use the word actuary, but the skill set they were looking for was the actuarial skill set. So that's where people, when thinking about what can they do with their career, where can they go, is you could look for things that just say actuary, or you could look where your skill set can add value. And so that's where Qantas, they actually, they hired on a actuarial consultancy firm, but now they have actually taken it in-house because they found that the actuarial skill set was helping them to be, well, at some point, the most profitable airline in the world. Formula One is very secretive, but we know there's some actuaries working in there because the high stakes and the high amounts of money, they want to make sure that they're making important decisions. And then you see the National Hockey League in the US, but we know of a lot of other ones where we don't know specifically, but we understand actuaries are working because, again, it's the forecasting, the modeling, they're working with the data. So working as an actuary is much, much greater than just your traditional insurance and pensions and retirement. So, and that's where your career as an actuary isn't just about being an actuarial analyst. It is moving into a lot of those chief level, high level roles where your insight and your expertise and your experience really adds value. And organizations increasingly recognize this. So the IFoA exams, I'm now going to move from your career to your exams. One of the things that the IFoA exams actually really focus on, and this is what's called, it's not Maslow's triangle, it's, I can't remember, but it's another educational framework on how to ensure the level of difficulty and technical rigor in examinations. So you can see that the level 1 is more simplistic learning, where you are memorizing or you're repeating or you're stating. As you move up this triangle, you move to where it's actually where the IFoA focuses, because IFoA actuaries are problem solvers, and the exams focus on those higher order skills and the more complex thinking and the problem solving. And so people say, well, that's difficult because you are actually at that highest levels of actual knowledge and how you gain knowledge. So moving on to IFoA exams. So these are all of the IFoA exams and requirements to become an associate. I've split it up so you can see which examinations are the ones that are actually with actuarial content and which ones are not. And so it's color-coded, and I have the legend on the upper right-hand side. So we have 10 examinations that are all mandatory, so there's no optionality here. And then we have 2 professionalism courses, because when you become an IFoA, to take IFoA exams, other than as a non-member, you need to become a member, because our ethos is that you develop your professionalism, not just when you qualify, but as you are going through your exam journey. You should also be developing your professional side and your professionalism. So but you can see there's everything from business to report writing to your actuarial content, and how it moves from the introductory to the advanced. Once you become an associate, there are different specialisms that you can do as to specialize as a fellow. And so these are the various different areas that are offered by the IFoA for your fellowship specialism. And how the IFoA fellowship works is, once you become an associate, you can choose any 2 specialist principal exams and any 1 special advanced exam. There are only 3 examinations to gain your fellowship. And one of the actual really advantages is that you can sit any 2 of the exams. You don't have to go down a particular track or channel. And as actuaries who might work outside of in less mature markets, having that flexibility to have various specialisms actually makes you a much more valuable, because then you can be called upon and you can focus on different areas, because you've demonstrated through passing a fellowship exam in that particular area that you have that expertise as defined by an examination pass. And then so which is it's quite an attractive offer. So we, as I reflected on before, our professional development is very important, and that starts from when you become a member. And one of the things is the personal and professional development, and this is also related to your work experience, because IFoA, to become an associate, you're required to have some work experience. Because again, if you're going to be a qualified actuary, you have to have not just exam passes, but you have to have practiced as an actuary. But it's not only just work experience, it's also achieving some core competencies and demonstrating that each year you're working on developing those, because that's an important aspect of being an IFoA actuary, is the effective communication, the problem solving, and the decision making and professionalism. And so that's something that you work on throughout the time that you are working towards your associate, and then as you work towards your fellowship. What happens with PPD once you qualify is that turns into CPD, your continuing professional development. So effectively, you start your CPD, understanding an ethos, not when you qualify, but actually when you start your actuarial journey. In terms of the actual study and exam preparation resources that we have for IFoA student members, is we have the syllabus that's published. There's core reading. So the examiners write this sort of book for each of those exams that tells you everything that you need to know. The exams won't test all of that. They will test some of it, but it covers everything. We have lots of different things, again, referring to the virtual learning environment of lots of different, and like take, for instance, this webinar will be added to the BLE so that people, members can view it in future, but is different resources that have been recorded for people to best understand how to prepare for and pass exams. And then we have optional and suggested additional reading where there's the free ebooks from the library, so you don't have to purchase the materials. Then different ways to become an IFoA member and gain some examination is we have different fast tracks that we also have. So you can sign up or register as an IFoA student and you can start taking your exams. Or we have other options, is that you could go to an accredited university. And we have in Africa, we have two, and that's the University of Mauritius and the University of Lagos. And we are working with other universities so they can become accredited. Some people come through because they have another professional body qualification. We also allow non-accredited university courses or module to be used. So just in case your university isn't accredited, doesn't mean that you can't apply for exemptions from some of your exams. Then if you have a master's degree where you've done a dissertation or a thesis, you can use that for one of your specialist principal options. We also, is if you have started exams with another professional actuarial body, they can be transferred over in a portfolio, what we call a transfer of prior learning portfolio, where you can gain exemptions from IFoA exams. And then if people have already qualified as an associate or fellow with other actuarial societies, they can then also become recognized by the IFoA through the individual qualification recognition. And I've put a link for more information. And then normally to take the exams for the IFoA, you have to become a member and you get all of the benefits and all of the value that all the other members get, qualified and unqualified. But some people just want to try it out and to see whether it's for them. And so we allow either our statistics or a mathematics examination to be taken as a non-member student. So you can sit these as many times as you like, but once you pass them, one of them, you do have to become an IFoA member to go on to sit the further examinations. So it is a way to sort of test it out. And we do know that some employers use it as a way to say, we'll pay for this, and to take it as a student to see how you do, to see if there's somebody that they want to take on, perhaps in an internship program. But it's a way without committing yourself to a longer journey, and a good way to understand whether this is a journey for you. In terms of our tuition and training providers, we currently have two that are acknowledged by the IFoA. We know there's a lot more out there, but in terms of that are acknowledged by the IFoA, there's ACTEX and then there's BPP ACTED. And both of those you can find on the website. But there are a lot more out there. They just aren't currently acknowledged by the IFoA. We do look to add on more and more. And when they are acknowledged by the IFoA, they will go up on this website or the webpage. And one of the things that I think will be reflected in the panel of our IFoA members is that it's not just about sitting exams and working on your professionalism. It's about how you make it through this journey. And so this is advice that a student had provided, and she shared it with me so that I could share it with you, is that it's just something nice to realize that it is a journey, sometimes longer for other people than others. But it's and one of the things that some people sort of laugh about is point number 3, where it says you will fail exams. And we know there's lots of people when they start off sitting actuarial exams may have never failed anything in their life. They've just been absolutely brilliant at university. They're at the top of the class. Never failed anything, and they sit an actuarial exam and they fail. And you know, it's most actuaries do fail at least one exam. So it's very rare that you find somebody who didn't fail. But it's good advice that, you know, in that final stage, your journeys will never be the same. So if you'd like to learn more, I've put this QR code. If you'd like to learn more about membership and to join, please scan that and it'll bring you directly to what's involved with registering as a member and qualifying as an IFoA chartered associate or a chartered fellow actuary. So that's all I have for now. So I'm going to hand over now to Lee and stop sharing my screen. There we are. So
Hey, thank you very much, Irene. That was a really helpful overview of the IFoA and the qualifications. So now we're going to hear what the actual journey is from our four panelists. That is, we have Ariri, sorry, Glenda, Sivan, and Blessings. And I'll just ask all of them to briefly introduce themselves, where they're currently based, what they currently do, and the stage in which they are in the IFoA journey. So I'll start with Ariri. Maybe you could go first.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Lee. My name is Ariri Osere. I'm originally from Kenya and currently based in Bahrain, where I work in project finance and primarily developing and financing large-scale infrastructure and public-private partnership projects across the Middle East. My academic background is in actuarial science, obviously, and I started my career in actuarial consulting before moving into infrastructure and project finance. In terms of my IFoA pathway, I think I'm currently 2 exams away from fellowship. My journey has probably been slightly unconventional because as my career moved away from traditional actuarial work into project finance, I paused the exams for some time. But I never really left actuarial thinking behind. A lot of the analytical discipline, the risk thinking, and the problem-solving sort of approach that I use today was actually developed, through my actuarial training. So I'm now at a stage where I'm looking forward to completing the remaining exams and closing out that journey. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Ariri. Glenda, go next.
Hello, everyone. My name is Glenda Nabukenya, and I'm a Ugandan. I just recently finished my final semester, and I'm waiting for graduation next year in January. I also did CS1 in April, and I passed it. And I'm looking forward to doing another paper in September. I'm currently working as an actuarial analyst at Mayfair, and yeah, I'm very happy to be starting out this journey and very glad that I've been given a platform to share my story and yeah, connect with other people who have made it that far.
Thank you, Glenda. Sivan.
Hi everyone, thanks for attending. So I'm Seven Boyanen, I'm from Mauritius. I've graduated from the University of Mauritius around 3 years ago and work primarily with EY South Africa now. Although I'm based in Mauritius, I work with EY South Africa mainly on actual audit and consultancy services for South African clients. My main areas of work are general insurance. Yeah, and I've just qualified as an associate actuary earlier during the year, and I've got 3 more exams till fellowship. Thanks.
Thank you. Blessings.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Blessing Bokude. I'm originally from Zimbabwe, but I currently work in Namibia for the regulator here. I qualified as a health actuary some 2-3 years ago, I think. Before coming to Namibia, I have worked in Zim in pensions, life insurance, short-term insurance, and health as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And my name is Lee, based in Kenya. And thank you, all of you, for making the time and for joining us in this webinar. So before we get into now the detail of the journey on to perhaps take you guys back to where it all began, and I'll start with Blessings. Maybe you could tell us what is your motivation towards, or what drew you to actuarial science and the IFoA pathway? And looking back, how has the reality been different from what you had expected initially?
So I stumbled upon actuarial by accident. Actually, I went to university, registered for engineering, and within the first week of engineering, I realized that it wasn't for me. So I started running around looking for something else that I could do. And it so happened that one of my seniors from high school was in their second year of actuarial. And I went there, had a chat with him, and my biggest concern was, can I do it? Is it difficult? Is it hard? And I had a chat with him, and he told me that, you know what, it's just perception from people. In fact, he said one statement that stuck with me until I had finished my college. He said that, do you know that proportion-wise, more people fail accounting than those that fail actuarial? So that then it convinced me right away, and I went to the dean and I changed to actuarial. And I can assure you, in my first actuarial lecture, I realized I was in the right place. I enjoyed the way the thinking that was being pushed through, and it has been an interesting journey for me. I don't regret choosing actuarial the way I chose it. I didn't have much information. I think it came from the background as well in terms of where I was coming from. There wasn't much information that was being communicated through high schools to give more information on actuarial. So when I finally then got there, I enjoyed it. It has been an interesting journey with a lot of failing as well. I think Irene pointed it out that at some point you will fail. And for me, that was the very first time I encountered a failure. And I think for most people who take actuarial, they are A students, very good in what they do. And for the first time in your life, you are told FA or FB when I was still writing, and it's an interesting journey. I think career-wise, it has opened a lot of opportunities for me, and I can see. I think I enjoy, and I made a good choice. In terms of the choice for IFoA, it's because of the community that I was in. Basically, the Zimbabwean community is mostly IFoA students. So having that environment of others that are pursuing almost the same thing, it is good for the studying. You have study groups where you can then sit down and study. You also have experience. Someone just talking to someone that I'm writing this subject. Can you help me? What insights can I pick? It was quite critical as well. So it's good to have that kind of community. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Blessings. And for Sivan, what was the biggest surprise once you actually began the IFoA exams and the journey? Sivan?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I didn't hear well. Can you repeat your question?
No. So it's just the biggest surprise once you actually began the actual exams.
Yeah, so I felt like I'm a bit like Blessing. I joined actually like not really knowing what it was going to be. And for the first, I thought it would be a lot of mathematics, but then when I went into it, it was a lot of finance, economics, statistics. So that was the first surprise, because I thought like it would be a lot of mathematics, but it was just a combination of a lot of these items. Then it was quite difficult also. So we basically have been like working very well in school and all that, and then you come to those exams, you're just trying to pass. Like you get that pass mark, it's all fine. You're not like, okay, I need to score the highest mark. You just want to pass. Like the difficulty of it is quite big. And then when I sat for CP1, this one was quite like in terms of breadth. Like you've got a lot of things from pension, general insurance, life insurance, investment banking. So it covers a lot of items, and maybe you're not working in those fields, but you need to have like a good understanding of all those concepts. So I guess these were like the key items for all those exams.
Okay, thank you. And to now, Ariri, so how did you decide which subjects to take, the order in which to take, and what would you think that you're ready for the next stage of each of the steps?
Thanks, Lee. I think like most candidates, I would imagine, I started with CMA and CS1. Back when I did the papers, it was CT1 and 5 and CT3, so it's a bit farther back. And then I think I benefited from also receiving a few exemptions from some of the subjects through my master's degree. So I did not sit for every single one of the papers with IFoA directly. But for the subjects that I did sit, I tried to follow a logical progression based on the qualification structure, but I also had to, consider what was realistic alongside work. And as my career sort of became more, I would say, demanding, there was the need to, balance it out and make sure that, both from the studying bit of it and the workload perspective, none of them is compromised. But I think one thing that I'd say is there isn't necessarily one perfect sequence of choosing which paper, how to go about it. I think it's important to understand the dependencies between the subjects, because it makes it easier while you're studying and across the different papers. But also being, I think, realistic about your own circumstances and your, capacity, so that you minimize, the pain that some people do feel while going through the process.
Thank you, Ariri. And to Glenda, you mentioned that you recently attempted CS1, and it was a successful attempt. So maybe you could just tell us what the thing that you found most different from what you had expected initially.
Well, what I expected, first of all, I'll start by saying it was my second attempt. I attempted CS1 the first time last year in September, and I made a few errors, and one of them was giving myself, like, there are topics, right? But then you may go over some topics and you feel like, oh, these are too hard, these are easy. So like you put all your effort on the easy ones. And when the exam came, these people set the one topic I was seriously weak in. So I knew like I was doomed from the start. So one thing I really learned was that I should not like be scared of topics. They are actually easy. Okay, not easy, but doable. You can actually read these things and understand. So that's one thing I really learned. Like, even if it seems hard, just give it time, do research, consult, but do not leave it to the unknown, because they may decide to set from there. Then, also like balancing the papers and schoolwork. I found that a bit hard, okay? But I think that's something you have to take upon yourself to be disciplined, right? To make sure you give adequate time to school or to work while you are doing the papers. And yeah, another thing that I also found was after failing the first attempt, I was very discouraged. And one thing that really helped me was you have to sit with your emotions, right? And feel them, but you must keep moving. You have to be consistent. Otherwise, if you just get discouraged and you don't do again, it will be very hard for you to get back up and continue with the papers. So I learned that, yes, it's not a must that you're going to pass, okay? But even if things go sideways, you have to like talk to yourself, encourage yourself, and also reach out to other people who have done the papers and get like encouragement from them, because they will have gone through way more and they'll have like more tips to share with you. Okay. So those are the key things that I learned while I was preparing for this, that I learned and practiced while preparing for that attempt. And that's what mainly helped me. Yeah.
Okay, great stuff, Glenda. And to Sivan, Mr. Ariri mentioned that he gained some exemptions from his masters, and now from your perspective, was there a particular subject, an exemption that you got, work experience, or any other relevant milestone that you think might have given you that confidence that you could succeed, in the actual path, and becoming an associate, and even going further to becoming a fellow?
Yes, so the University of Mauritius like gives a maximum of 6 exemption out of those 7 papers, which are like, I'll call it level 1, like the technical exams. So I managed to got 5 out of the 6. That was a good like boost of confidence to take on more exams. And I sat the CB1, which I didn't get the exemption, and I passed it. So it was like very motivating to go on. And I think the exemptions were also like really beneficial, like to qualify quite rapidly. I said because once I was out of university, I already had like 5 papers in the bag. Considering CB3 would not be a typical exam, so I had just to write 4 more exams within the space of 2 years to qualify as an associate. So it was very motivating to have those exemptions. And yeah, I would recommend any students, like if you're looking for a university to pursue actuarial, if possible, look for universities offering those exemptions. It's quite like if you secure those exemptions, it helps you a lot.
Okay, thank you, Sivan. And to Blessings, I know we mentioned there will be setbacks, there will be challenges here and there, and I just want to hear from your view. How did you respond to those setbacks? For example, unsuccessful exam attempt, balancing work life and studying as well, and staying motivated over the long period till you qualified as a fellow.
Yeah, so I think my first setback was in the very first exam. At that time, it was called CT1. So I came out of university without any exemptions. So I had to start over the whole process. So you register for CT1 and you remember that it was one of the first courses that you were doing in university. And I just thought it was a walkover. So I didn't study as much, I didn't prepare as much, and that was my first wake-up call to say you can't take this for granted. So I failed right away, and I think that was the first drawback, and I had to go back to the drawing board and not take anything for granted. I think you have to have that drive from within yourself. Actually, you can't have external motivation if you want to qualify. You have to have it from within. It has to be internal. If you can't self-motivate, then I think the journey will be quite difficult. And there are times when it gets really tough. I think my biggest setback was the final qualifying exam. I wrote the first time and I got at that time the FAs and the FBs. So I got an FA. I think I was 3% below the pass mark. I went back and studied quite hard and incorporated more study material, and I came back 10 marks below the pass mark. It was gutting for me. It was gutting. I thought I had done everything I could. And it's still a joke within my friends as well. They say, remember when you got, I think it was 35 or 37%. Remember when you got that? So what I did was just take a bit of time. I didn't know what else to do. I think that's where now that looking back, that's where exam counseling would have been helpful as well. Because then you're thinking, I've done everything that I could, but I still did not get what I expected. So I took a step back and took a year off. I took a year off, did an MBA during that period, then came back, refocused, and I passed it that one time after the comeback. So I think it's still that internal drive in yourself to say, I need to do this and I still need to do it.
Okay, thank you, Blessings. And to Ariri, how did you stay motivated over the long term? Given that you mentioned that at some point you took a break, so what was the motivation to get you back to on track? You're on mute.
Hi. Yeah, you can hear me. Okay. Yeah. I think for me, like you've mentioned, I've had to pause it for a few, a couple of years to be honest. Like I said, I'm 2 papers away. But I think it's the realization that this is not, I'm not just doing it to pass the papers. I'm not doing it just to qualify as an actuary. This is something that I've, dedicated my time to, sitting through the papers, doing them. And so it's best advice to, once you start something, just seeing it through until the end. But over and above that, I think my biggest motivation is just looking back when I was studying through the papers and even during my, my university days, everything that I learned during that time, I see it, being applied in practice. So the skill set from, risk assessment, financial modeling, the ability to sit through and apply, practical thinking in the things that you do, all these like soft skills that you learn as you are studying, going through the actuarial program, but then being able to see the practical application of it. It's a great thing, and it keeps, I think, someone like me keeps you going and wanting to see it through the end. Yeah.
Thank you, Ariri. To Glenda, you mentioned that the April attempt was your second CS1. So maybe you could tell us what changed, or what study habits or approaches changed between your first attempt, your second attempt, and that helped you become successful in the second attempt, and also the different resources that might have been at your disposal that were of assistance.
Well, I'll start by saying that I had a tutor. He's very good, actually. He's very good. He gave me a very good foundation on which to start reading CS1. And through him, yeah, I covered like each topic, and I covered for both paper A and paper B. Then I also had issues with question interpretation because there's a certain way you're supposed to answer the questions. So I had to practice all the topics, especially those that I undermined and those that I felt were too hard. I had to get really good at them. And yeah, that really helped me out. Plus, yes, I used to read. I used to read with AI. I used to read topics. I used to consult from other people who have done, like the actuary community in Uganda. I used to ask everyone. And if someone like doesn't know what you're talking about, they always know someone who will know. So that really helped me out. I really did a lot of consultations, and that's what mainly helped me. The consultations, the tutor, and also like pushing myself. Okay? I used to practice under exam conditions. I'd even like give myself like 2 hours so that I learn how to type fast, learn how to give myself like adequate time in the exam to review my work. Then, but yeah, that's basically it. Plus, during the exam, I also had to learn how to strategize because the exam is not going to be straightforward. They can bring questions that throw you off, even though you feel like you have prepared so well. So learning how to strategize also really pushed me to like passing the exam. So yeah, that's what basically helped me pass this April attempt.
Thank you, Glenda, for that. And to Sivan, so beyond the exams, how have your work experience, the PPD professionalism requirements, and support from employers or mentors shaped your progress?
Yeah, so in Mauritius, we've got quite a strong actuarial community, I say. Basically, each year you have the Mauritian Actuarial Society, which organizes CPD on different topics. Like, for example, the recent one was on pension, given there's it's a hot topic in Mauritius, to be honest. So you have the Actuarial Society of Mauritius, which does a lot of CPD presentation. There's also the Student Society at the University of Mauritius organizes at least not each year, maybe 1 in 2 years time, like the CPD program. So we've got a good community here, like to support you in your exams, also share advices. And then my employer, I would say I get a lot of support. So UI provides me with study leaves, also supports for financial support for the exams, pays the exams, certain study materials, not all, but at least quite a decent amount of study materials is also covered. And you're also encouraged to do the exams through salary increases when you pass. So it's quite like a motivating factor, I'd say. And then in terms of, given that I'm having exposure to the whole EY Africa team, so you get to work with a lot of people who've got a lot of experience. You have like a lot of fellows working with you. So it's shared knowledge. That's really important, I guess, for people like with me who have very little experience. So you work with people with a lot of experience. So they help you with exam, but not only exam, but through your actual journey also. That's really important, like for student actuaries and like young actuaries, I'd say. Yeah, and also one thing I saw, like working with a lot of fellows, I was like, okay, so this is achievable. You have people actually qualifying, becoming fellow, becoming associate actuary. So when you're starting the exams, you think like, okay, these guys have been able to do it, so it's achievable. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And I really a bit from a perspective from Bahrain, how is it in Bahrain?
I mean, it's good. I would say trying to tailor it to fit the the context. I mean, so what I do on a day-to-day is, reviewing projects. Like I said, we develop projects working with governments across the Middle East. And my day-to-day involves risk assessment for the projects, reviewing and developing financial models. So I do get the chance to apply what I'm learning, both from the risk, assessment point of it, and also working with different stakeholders, different consultants, Ernst & Young being one of them. So you do get the opportunity to interact with people from all facets of life, all different backgrounds, and see how everything puts together in developing a project. So I think from a non-traditional sense of the application of actuarial skills, and what I would also, try to, pass across today is there are, and I think Irene mentioned it in the introduction, there are different fields where you can apply your actuarial skills. Doesn't have to be the traditional actuarial, works sort of aspects, and most companies actually do appreciate the technical expertise that comes from people who have gone through the actuarial process. And just as walking down memory lane, how I came into project finance in particular, my story is interesting. One day I was reading a newspaper magazine, and I saw a job application, and the one thing that captured my attention was Monte Carlo simulations. First time I've ever seen a job application that requires someone to have done Monte Carlo simulation, and I remembered it, having done that, during my master's program, and I was like, yeah, this I have to apply. So it wasn't necessarily actuarial related, but it did, capture elements. It did have risk analysis into it, and first time I was hearing about public-private partnerships, and I applied and got in. And so from that, opportunity and where I am right now, it's been mind opener that there are different fields that are open to actuarial students, where you can come in and apply your actuarial knowledge.
Thank you. Great stuff. So I know we've all reached different points in our actuarial pathway. Now I want to ask how our perspective changes as we move through the journey. And I want to bring in Blessing. At the time you reached or you qualified as an associate, what changed or professionally, personally, and how did you view the rest of the journey?
Yeah, so I think just having the credential comes with money. It's a nice change that always comes in. The associateship, especially the fellowship, I think it's good to start by addressing that. It's quite nice to have acquired that, and there's so many opportunities that comes with it, which also then result in some financial gain. But having said that, I think the most important thing that you see when you get the credentials is the responsibilities. Immediately when you get the fellowship, when you get the associateship, the responsibility that some of it you carry it as you are qualifying, as you are rising through the exams, you start getting a bit more responsibility. And the moment you get to associateship and to fellowship and having to sign off some of the work from a professional perspective, that's quite significant and that's quite big. So I think it's something that for those that are on the qualifying journey, start thinking through carrying that responsibility as you are going through. it accumulates gradually with the exams that you're passing, and as you get to fellowship, you get to have quite some significant responsibility. And if you are coming from the markets that I've worked in, there was a phrase that the actuary said so. It carries so much weight. So you actually discover that there are spheres where actuary said so is enough explanation. And that's quite a lot of responsibility to carry, because then decisions can be made on the basis that the actuary has said so. And it's if you haven't prepared yourself for that kind of responsibility, and just getting enough information for you to be able to give an opinion that can lead to decisions being made, I think it's quite critical to start thinking through as you go through the journey.
Okay, thank you, Blessings. And Steven, maybe quickly, I know you just qualified as an associate. Is there anything that has changed, and how do you view the rest of the journey?
I would say I'm still very young, so lack experience for like very big changes. But since I've qualified, like in terms of opportunity at work, it's more like pushing me to do taking more responsibilities, and then now you're getting pulled into a lot of client call where you're actually involved, like giving your opinions. So it's more, I would say, like in terms of responsibility, increased responsibility now, given that I've qualified as an associate, and also more pressure to be fellow also. Yeah.
Okay. And Blessings, this is on to you as well. So if you look up, if you look at, or looking back at when you're attempting the later subjects, that is the SPs and the specialist application, did they require like a different approach from the earlier subjects, or what approach changed from your perspective?
Yeah, so definitely, I think each and every stage requires a totally different approach and a different way of thinking as well. So I didn't struggle with the SPs. I passed them in one go. And even when it comes to the exams, I came out knowing that I have passed, and that approach worked. But as I explained, the moment I went to the application exam, the qualifying one, the things changed completely. And I studied the way I used to study for the other law exams, and it did not work. So what then worked for me when I qualified, I then said, coming back from my sabbatical, studying MBA, I came back and told myself that I need to throw everything that I can get at the exams. So I got all the material that I could get, and I started a bit earlier as well. I think it was an April sitting, so I started as way back as November, studying, going through the notes. When I went through all the material that I could get, but the most critical thing that I think helped me was to do a tutorial that was done by IFoA. So that tutorial gave me a perspective in terms of the approach that you need to take in the exam. So it was just a shift in perspective from the way you look or you approach other exams. And that helped me. The tutorial was around February, I think, and I still had 2-3 months for me to then go back to my study and also then study with that perspective in mind. And it helped me quite significantly. When I got to the exam, I passed it right away. And I think I was 10 marks above the pass mark or something like that. It did help me quite significantly.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Blessings. Now to Blessings. To Glenda. Is there a particular advice that you would give to someone preparing for their very first actual exam?
Well, first of all, I'd advise them to get to talk to someone who has ever done the papers or like get a mentor, because when you're starting out, especially now for someone who's like me, it's always good to talk to someone who has been in your exact situation. Let's say you're at campus. Good to get someone who did the papers while they were at campus, because they'll know what you're going to go through. Or if you're like working, you can talk to someone who's working while doing the papers to better advise you. So I tell them to first get someone who has ever done the papers and like talk to them, get the experience, ask them for advice. And besides that, I'd tell them, you have to have that talk of you're not going to pass every exam, and that's okay. So that they don't get like frustrated. Okay, you can get frustrated, but so you don't give up. Okay, because to be an actuary, you have to be determined. That's the only way you actually reach the very end. So they have to have that talk with themselves and accept that failing is okay, but of course you want to pass, you must give it your all. Then, yeah, tell them to be determined, get someone who can mentor you through this journey, and yeah, to not be scared. These papers are doable. They may seem different from what we have been doing at school, from what we have been doing like in our lives, but they are doable. You can sit down, read, practice, and pass. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Glenda. That's very helpful. Now, as we close on to, I'm going to just ask two questions to each one of you, and I'll begin with Ariri. If you could go back to the time back in the university, maybe high school, what's the one thing that you tell your younger self as you started the actual journey?
Looking back, I'd probably say I'll probably tell myself not to be in a hurry to have your entire career figured out. I mean, when I started actuarial science, I assumed I needed to follow a fairly defined path, if I may say. And my career eventually took me into where I am right now, which I wouldn't necessarily have, predicted at the beginning. So, but looking back, the actuarial journey wasn't, I did not leave it behind. So it gave me a way of thinking that I've carried into everything I've done since. So I tell my younger self to, I think, work hard, keep progressing, but remain open to where your skills might take you. Sometimes your career develops differently from the plan without developing in the wrong direction. So just keep focus, work hard, and you will get there.
Thank you. And is there one piece of advice you'd give to maybe students in Africa as they're starting their actual journey?
I would say, yeah, I would. I think I would probably say three things just off of my head. First, don't underestimate the value, actually the international value of what you're building. Actuarial science and the actuarial field is quite big, and the application is extensive. And a second, don't think too narrowly about what an actuarial career has to look like. There's insurance, there's pension, and the traditional actuarial roles are important, yes, but the analytical, the financial, the pension, the risk skills that you develop as you're going through the actuarial process, you gets you to develop skill set that can make you valuable in investments, in banking, in infrastructure, in consulting, and many other areas. And I think the last bit that I can say is I think almost along the lines of what Glenda was saying, build the person alongside the qualification. So yes, get some mentorship, but at the same time build yourself. Don't forget yourself. It's not all about passing the exam, sitting through, and setbacks are there. But at the same time, it's not necessarily that you have to fail an exam. You can sit and pass. So communication, build on communication, have a curious mind, commercial awareness. This is some of the soft skills that will, as you're studying, will also make you excel in your career as well. And the ability to work with different people and different cultures and become, those kind of skills have become increasingly important as you develop your career.
Thank you, Ariri. Sivan, same question. Sivan.
Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, I was saying like an advice to myself, to my younger self, might not be very applicable, given that it's just like 3 years I've completed university. Maybe one thing would be not to be to be a bit more confident, because like opportunities do comes. Like you worry a lot when you're at university. Will this I've chosen that field? Will it work out? What will be the opportunities over the years? Will I pass the exams? And like it seems like a big mountain to climb at start. So maybe to be a bit more confident, like on that part. Then in terms of advice, what I would tell students, maybe I can't give really big career advice, given I'm very early in my career myself. Maybe an advice for exams would be first take it with a positive mindset. I know it's like we talk a lot about like the average exams, a lot of people are going to fail, but just when you're going to write it, be positive. At least say I'm going to pass. So it's like bring you in the right direction. You don't go like from the perspective, okay, I'm just trying, I'm going to fail and something like you're very positive, you're confident that you may pass, and then you need to do all the work. One good new study material that I've saw from Acted is the Vault. It's a mix of Acted notes, or like topical wise and like year wise also. So it's a very useful study materials if you have the possibility to purchase it to help you for your actual exams. Yeah, and also for jobs, be open, as I already said. You can be working in insurance, but also like if you get an opportunities, for example, I'm working in consulting at EY, mainly insurance, but at times you get to work with other kind of companies, and I guess these are the most interesting projects, to be honest. Yeah, so be open to all these. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, thank you. That was very helpful, Sivan. Blessing.
Yeah, so for me, what I would tell my younger self is just approach everything, approach every exam as if it was the last exam you're going to write. Give it your all. Sometimes we are too relaxed, and then you realize 2-3 weeks before the exam that you're not quite ready. I think each and every exam, approach it as if it was your last, and just give it your all. It doesn't matter whether you feel comfortable or not. And if you are starting the exams, you see those recommended hours of study that are on the website. Just make sure you hit those. Just make sure you get those study. You can't fluff your way through actuarial. You can never fake it and make it when it is actuarial. You just have to put in the hours. So if I was to give advice to myself, is just make time and study. Career-wise, I would agree with Glenda and Aridi in terms of just don't be a numbers person, just numbers person. You need to develop yourself as a person as well. One of the most interesting experiences that I got somewhere in my career was when I was going to when I was starting this insurance entity within Zimbabwe. My superior who recruited me Within the first week, he told me that, you know what, Blessing, I'm going to take the actuary out of you so that you can develop the products that are important for the market. And that was a very critical lesson that I got. Sometimes we think numbers, we think solvency, we think adequacy of premiums, but there are some nuances like affordability and what the customer perceives. So instead of me sitting behind the desk, he took me to the customer, and I started doing presentation to customers. I started understanding what the feedback from the customers was, and that was quite critical for me. So while we are getting the actuarial knowledge, we need to also get the non-actuarial knowledge, because we don't work in a vacuum. We work in a whole ecosystem that we need to fit into.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yesterday I can't see the Q&A. We have like 1 or 2 questions from the audience. If you could assist me in, I'm not able to see the Q&A.
Yes, Lee, I think we had one question that was posted directly to the Q&A.
Okay.
I think Irene has answered that question on the Q&A. So it was a question around, and it was a question for Irene about cross-recognition of exams from the SOA to the IFoA. I see I've been following the chats. I think
Okay.
there have been some further questions there, which I think between myself, Irene, and
Yes.
the panel, I can't see
Okay.
any. Or if anyone has a question. Okay. It seems like you've given, the panel has given a lot of it. Somebody has one question. Okay, let's see. It's in the chat. How many papers do you recommend for an undergraduate for the job market? I guess it's how many papers do you recommend an undergraduate to have in order to enter the job market, if I rephrase that?
Yes, maybe Blessing can help us answer that, given his
Yeah, so it's very market related. It's different for Namibia, where I am now. It's different for Zimbabwe, where I was. If you look at the context for Zimbabwe, the number of graduates that are coming out of university is quite significant. And in the same process, the access to the exams is quite early as well, because the universities, they don't come up with exemptions at all. So we find that earlier on, students are already starting to take out the exams even as they are in university. So for you to be competitive, you need also then to start picking up a bit of exams to stand out, because of that level of information, that level of exams that others already have. In Namibia, there is no university that offers actuarial. So any level of exams is a good exam level for you to enter the market, because there is not much in terms of what is coming in. So I think it's very important for you to look at the market that you are in, and also then ensure that you match what the market demands. It's not the same for each and every market.
Okay. Thank you, Blessing. There's one. How much is each paper in USD, and how do we pay for the papers? Sorry, it has been answered.
I think they will put a link to it. I think there's a link
Okay.
to how much the papers are. There is also some discounts depending on which market you are in. Irene, I'm assuming you will do that.
Yes, I will. Yes, I'll send it in there. So yes, because it's for the IFoA, it's on income, how much you earn.
Income. Yes, thank
so
you.
it's on income. So then it's heavily discounted if your income is low or if you have no income. And so I can send a link to that. And then also exemptions are discounted also. So the different ways are discounted to allow for that.
Fantastic. Good. Thank you. I think those are the
Yeah.
recommended hours. That's yeah, very much the needed recommended hours.
If there's no other question, I'd like to.
Sorry, Lee. There's a
Yes,
question in the question and answer that says that how does one get a mentor?
Okay.
Yeah, I can have a go at that.
Sure.
When I was looking for a mentor at one point, I approached one of the very senior people and asked them straight away if they can mentor me. So their response has sat with me, and I've used that even in my career. He said to me, "Have you ever approached a girl and said, 'Will you marry me on the first day?'" That's the equivalence of asking someone if you be their mentor. So if you want to be able to find a mentor, is to find someone in the industry whom you think you can learn from. Prepare questions that you might ask them that they can build you up on. Instead of going straight up and asking them if they can be your mentor, you ask them, can you help me with this specific project? Can you help me with a specific idea? Go with specific things. It's the same way you'd ask a girl on a date. You don't go straight to asking to marry them. You propose things. Let's go and eat. Let's go and be specific in terms of the help that you need. And most of the mentors will see the interest that you are picking in, and gradually you start getting the mentorship. It's not a direct to say, can you just mentor me, please?
I'll add on to that. It's an interesting
Okay.
perspective.
Yeah.
Lee, go ahead.
No. You can go. Yeah.
At AADA, we have 4 pillars, and one of our pillars is a mentoring pillar. So we do have a program. There's one currently ongoing, so do watch out for the next one, where we do try and pair mentees and mentors together. Just to, we know that in some markets there might not be too many actuaries, so we try and get people from across the world to come in and volunteer their time. And it's, well, if I use the analogy Blessing started, it's almost like we've created a matching app, a Tinder or Bumble. So you apply as a mentee, somebody else applies as a mentor. So we all know what we're getting in for, and we try and match you together. So do follow AADA on LinkedIn, and you might be and apply for when next we have another open session on a mentee mentor, and we do have group mentorships as well. So that's another avenue. So you might not find somebody in your specific market, but you might find somebody who might be able to give you some aspects of what it's like to be an actuary.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
I think there's one more. So there was a question, are there any platform on which students who are taking can meet in an organized manner for discussions amongst themselves? No, Irene, I don't know what you have. If you have, I know there are Reddit channels. But for us at ADA, we do have a WhatsApp group. We do have, it's not specifically for specific exams, but we have something for students to help them along that process. So we have the Actuaries Lab helping you solve problems, and we have the student ones. Those are some of the channels in which you can meet people who are also doing similar exams to you. Irene, I don't know if you have
Yeah.
any
Yeah,
on your side.
that's what we would recommend, is because the fact that it's sort of alluding to what the panel has referred to, is that a lot of it has to do with, instead of being automatically added to a WhatsApp group or automatically joining a community where you can discuss amongst yourself, it's much more is their motivation, is their determination to be part of a community and to find that community. And each, as Blessing pointed out, it's different in every place, so it's not the same. But usually students who've either through BPP ACTED or through ACTEX or just through other channels of AADA or the AAEA, just developing those communities is finding other people, and people usually set up WhatsApp groups. So there's nothing formally established by the IFoA for each of these study groups, because we don't want to put it that it's an obligation that you have to be part of these groups. And so, yes, so we would strongly suggest using more of the local and going towards more of the local support. And there's student societies at a lot of universities where they actually have their own student societies. So those are also good places to start. So I'd love to say there's a WhatsApp chat for each exam, but there are sub chats around there, but it's really dependent. Hopefully that's helpful for the person who asked.
Lee, I can see 2 more questions, and then I think if we do those 2 more, so we try and wrap up, and then I can do the announcements. Are there, I don't know the answer to, are there any opportunities for undergraduate students that can help them fund their exam registration?
In terms of the IFoA Foundation, it used to fund exams. I think they're reviewing their funding structure currently. So that's a watch this space as to what's available. But yeah.
Yeah, and similarly for AADA, the ambition is that we are still looking for funding to be able to do that. So watch this space as well. It is part of our ambitions to help people with that, but watch this space is the message on that. And I'm going to try and see if somebody graduates with an actual science degree but has one or no IFoA papers, are they employable, and what's the best route? I think that's similar to how do you get your first job. So we'll pass on that. It's just the same. It depends. It's matter specific.
Yeah.
Do I need the professional papers and still be an actuary without a degree in actual science? If you qualify via any of the recognized actuarial routes, the answer is yes. It's really your university degree that gives you the title actuary. It's even if you have exemptions, you will still have some exams that you need to write in order to be able to get the title.
Mm-hmm. And also too is that there's a question here, can I do the professional papers and still be an actuary without a degree in actuarial science? Yes, it's not a requirement to sit actuarial exams that you must have an actuarial science degree. There's lots of associated degrees where you do have sufficient foundation and background that you can be successful in your IFoA exams, your actuarial exams, because it's not wholly dependent on having an actuarial science degree. It's helpful, but it's not a requirement. It's not dependent. So there are people who've come through economics, some people who've come through mathematics, pure mathematics, or statistics and other related, that they felt, similar to what Blessing was referring to, that actually they really enjoyed where they found a place that was for them. And that's where they find out about actuarial science sort of after their degree and realize, hey, actually, this is something I want to do. So it is definitely doable.
Okay, I'm going to say that in the interest of time and trying to wrap this up, I think if the panel, thank you very much to the panel, and if they can help type in answers if there's still any more questions. I'm going to move on to I'm going to move on to just the announcements that we have at the end of this. But first of all, I want to say thank you very much to all our panelists for sharing their experience and their time and coming on to this. I definitely took away a lot of things from this session. It was very varied. There were things like go into each exam with the right attitude, do the number of recommended hours, that's important. The fact that being an actuary gives you varied opportunity. It is well and truly an international qualification. Resilience is something you build throughout throughout the whole thing. And I like this the best. Don't just be a numbers person. Be someone who is very well rounded, as I think that makes you a better rounded actuary overall. I'm going to share my screen now as we do some announcements of next events that are happening with AADA. Just give me a second while I do that. Can I need somebody to say they can hear my screen because I'm on a single screen. Tell me that my screen
We
is.
can see
Thank
it.
you very much. Fantastic. Okay, so we have one of other things is tutorials. So we have a tutorial session ongoing with the SOA, and we have revision classes for anybody who's registered at the moment for the SOA exam P, taking place between the 10th and the 21st of September 2026. So if you're already registered for that, we have revision classes open on the 22nd and 29th of August for that. We have from the CAS a mentor-led cohort of training, which is the Actuary Essentials program. It will be mentor-led. They've given us some free licenses. We'll be offering that to people across Africa. It's going to be practical. It's going to be hands-on. It's going to be something that you can apply straight to your work in the non-general insurance side of things. So please do look out for that as well. You can look into the details of the course. The details of the course are already on the CAS website, so do check it out. But AADA will be offering some free slots soon. Other upcoming events are, there was a fireside earlier in the year that got cancelled. We're going to bring that on with Alex Akereboru. He's going to talk about non-traditional roles for actuaries. Then we're going to have the Actuarial Society of South Africa come and explain their exam pathways in Q4. We are going to do another student success, which is a tutorial and a scholarship program for the SOA exam FM that will happen in Q4. Then we also recognize that somebody said earlier, we are not just a numbers people, we have to be a well-rounded people. So we're going to be doing a soft skills boot camp, virtual boot camp in conjunction with International Association of Black Actuaries to see how we impact some of those skills onto students. In all cases, please do look to our LinkedIn. That's the source of all truth for us.
Yeside, can I interrupt really quickly? It was really blurry. That screen was really blurry for me. I'm not sure if it's blurry for other people.
Can people see?
All of a sudden, it was very distinct. It was clear, and then it's blurry. Is anyone else seeing this as blurry?
I'm finding it blurry as well, I'm afraid.
Yes, it is.
Oh, that's probably my internet connection. Let me try and reshare again. Thank you very much for pointing that out.
Yeah,
let me stop
sharing. The previous slides were clear, and then all of a sudden it just went blurry.
That I can only say is my internet, because it's exactly the same thing. It's exactly. Oh, have I closed this now? Yeah, hold on. Let me. Yeah.
The little gremlins that are going out.
Yeah, the little gremlins of. Let me try again.
Yeah.
Of the internet.
Yes. Of Wi-Fi.
Yes. Okay, I'm gonna try again and see. Okay, how is this?
Oh, it was clear, and then all of a sudden went blurry. That's really bizarre. I wonder.
Okay,
Why?
maybe what we do is I am going to, let me make sure I turn off my camera just in case that's impacting on things. And I'll try sharing one more time. Otherwise, Irene, we might just send it out to everybody.
Yes. Yeah.
That's
No.
our final.
So the
Our
computer.
final.
Oh wait, here we are. You're sharing content. Oh, it was clear and then went blurry again. It's not as blurry, but if people wanted to scan the QR code, my concern is that they wouldn't be able to scan through. Yeah.
Okay, I know. What we'll do is, Irene, I'll send this to you. So as you're sending
Okay.
off the material, we'll
Yep.
send this as well.
Fantastic.
Anyway, I think I'd more or less got into the end of this, just to say that we do have a WhatsApp channel. We do have a lot of various groups within it. We have exams and study support. We have experienced actuaries. We have the actuary lab. We have volunteers. We have careers and opportunities. I guess you can't scan the QR code, but if you look on our website, on our LinkedIn channel, you'll find a post that actually has that. And when this gets to you, please do scan and join our community. I'm going to stop sharing because it seems like it's not working. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. Really, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to have all of you here today. Thank you so much for joining us. And we look forward to seeing you in other events and programs by both the IFoA and the SOA. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye. Bye.
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 Thank
Bye.
you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.